Finally, ring culture. Um, this has been a crazy dynamic, especially with Damian Lillard in Portland, how people view his loyalty to the Portland Trailblazers really not wanting to leave and wanting to build in Portland. And he talks about that, where he says he kind of came into the league at that point where super teams or multiple stars are on the same team, teaming up and winning, right? So you look at Miami when he came into the league, they were kind of running their course. Boston's Big Three, Golden State when they got Kevin Durant. All these teams are basically trying to add duos and add other stars, add more depth in case of that. And he says that that's not really his thing, and I can understand it from both sides. Where he said the grass is not always greener, and that you'll look crazy if you go somewhere else and you don't really win. That doesn't pan out. And some people say that he's basically running around from the grind, right? Kind of what he said about Paul George basically getting traded from place to place and going to compete and try to stack up and win championships. I get it from both sides where people are saying, well, he's running from the grind, wanting to stay in Portland, like nothing's going to really happen there. Why isn't he going to try to maximize his career? And he basically says maximizing his career is basically being the best every day that he can be. He likes the competitiveness, going back and forth, that guys. And I've been on the record saying that, yeah, Damian Lillard should leave Portland, right? Like they haven't done him any favors in terms of building a team around him, giving him a chance. I thought they had some earlier years where they could have added some pieces around here. They had CJ McCollum and him younger, but they were going into Oracle scoring 40 a piece on the road in the playoffs. Like I thought that was a big sign that they should have done something more there, right? And that was the time when they had Evan Turner, Alfred Camino, the other guy there, Maurice Harkless, where I thought they desperately needed an upgrade as a third scorer or somebody there that can really help them get over the hump. And I just feel like that was a missed opportunity in Portland Trailblazers history. I think he's been to one Western Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken. But he has had a lot of first-round exits, especially with Terry Stotts and stuff like that. So it's like Portland really hasn't done them any favors. I thought they should have broke up him and CJ in their backcourt because I thought that dynamic of just two offensive guards who don't play defense, that's not going to work in the NBA like that unless you have tremendous defense around you and scoring around you that they just never possessed there. And especially being Portland, that's a small market. I didn't see it. But the same people that were championing his comments of people teaming up, that he's not about that back in the day, it used to be a couple stars that led a team and stuff like that, kind of like what we're seeing right now, that really led a team and really built that way and built it kind of more of a organically way. And people are championing his comment and saying, yeah, he's right. And basically, that's just basically to take a dig at Kevin Durant, LeBron James, guys that have been around, Anthony Davis's, Paul George, guys that kind of try to maximize their opportunity to win, trading, leaving their respective franchises to go win. And people are championing that. But at the same breath, those are the same people that sit there and criticize Damian Lillard for not winning in Portland, saying that he's not on the level of Steph Curry, saying that he's not going to win in Portland, saying that he should leave Portland. So the same people that are saying that, championing his comments about ring culture and how people are chasing rings and stuff like that, but in the same breath, criticizing Dame Lillard for not winning. It's a crazy paradox, right? Like, it's a crazy paradox out that people try to criticize him on one end and then champion his comments of what he's saying. It's like, which one is it? And then he basically said, JJ Redick said, you're basically going to get criticized regardless of whatever you do. It's a no-win situation. All you can do is try to, and they talked about how they try to maximize the most that they give to the game, and that's how they generalize success. Like Damian Lillard has done it all. He's an all-star, has big contract, shoe endorsements, really led Portland in terms of where they were looking for a franchise player, excuse me, to lead that point. And just to think about how Damian Lillard is viewed in the league and how people crap on him for not leaving and saying that he's not a winner, but in the same point, you're basically championing what he's doing while criticizing him. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people look at Damian Lillard the way they do. And it's like, it's not really necessary. And I feel like they really talked about how maximizing and trying to get the most out of the game and loving the competition. I thought that was good to hear from these guys that are different levels of the spectrum, right? Like JJ Redick at his best was a role player. I think that he joked in there. I think Damian Lillard said, I think they said Damian Lillard has, I forgot, like 12 or 13 40-point games that he passed Jordan in that. And then JJ Redick said, hey, I had one 40-point game in my career. So it's just kind of cool to hear the perspectives of Damian Lillard, who's a franchise player all-star, and then JJ Redick, who's a role player. So you're getting different perspectives on how that is viewed. And it was just a good interview. I suggest everyone go check that out and basically try to understand what ring culture really is. And I can understand it from both sides, where Damian Lillard, I kind of think of him like a Reggie Miller, or in terms of Malone and Stockton, kind of that cloth of really not going anywhere else, trying to do it. Because I think that's another thing I wanted to touch on, is that it's kind of similar to Reggie Miller, right? Like Reggie Miller talked about in one of his interviews, Beyond the Glory. I believe they used to do a series on Fox Sports, which was awesome. I suggest people check that out as well, where he could have had a chance to go to LA. And I think it was 97 when they burned his house down in Indiana. Like, Reggie Miller had put so many years into Indiana, and for them basically to burn his house down, all that stuff happening in Indiana. And people were saying, yo, get out of here, go to LA. And at that time, Shaq was in LA. So that just made me think about like Reggie Miller and Shaq playing together, and Reggie Miller's ability to get to the finals at that point. And they had a young Kobe Bryant, how that would have worked. And just thinking how that would have worked out, right? And he didn't go anywhere. He stayed true. He actually got to the finals with Indiana, eventually overcoming the Knicks, and got to the finals. Unfortunately, ran into Shaq and Kobe in 2000, right? So it's like, it's just interesting to have a look at it, where you have players that move around because it's like, yo, we're going to go try to win. LeBron James is obviously the creator of that, people of this generation, even though it's happened long before that. But in terms of your management, and this is how I compare it, is where your management is not giving you the tools to maximize your potential in the league, right? Like, I don't feel like Portland has put the right pieces around Damian Lillard to compete via trade aggressively enough, via a free agency enough. I feel like they haven't done that. That's similar to what happened in Cleveland, right? Like, Cleveland missed out on so many free agents, so many trades, holding J.J. Hickson not to get Amari Stoudemire, so many things that we can go into. But LeBron ended up leaving and got a championship, and is viewed differently than other players because of this free agency move that he made. Damian Lillard hasn't really been in that situation, and he's basically committed to Portland. I believe he re-upped for 2 more years. I believe the option was, or whatever the case may be, signed an extension, I should say. So it's just different perspectives of how you look on it. And I think the interview was awesome. I thought it was awesome just to hear from Damian Lillard during this time, especially where he talks about his aggressiveness lately, just as in scoring and really trying to fight for a playoff spot. And it's like, for me, Portland has to do better. Yeah, you have Anthony Simons, who's developing into a nice guard. You have Shaedon Sharpe, who has a lot of potential. Hopefully those guys can kind of help Dame in that regard. But in this time, it's just like Portland has not done him any favors. And I really hope Damian Lillard can win, because he's one of the best players in the NBA in terms of scoring, one of the best guards in the league. And when you really think about how they talked about how he's at peace with that, like, if he doesn't win, like, not that that's okay, but he's playing to win and play for stats, but he's like, I'm going to do it my way. You know what I mean? And wear it on his sleeve. It's going to be on my back. Like, that's how I'm going to do it. And you have no choice but to respect that, especially as a person who's a leader as a franchise and competing every day and really going after it. And I've never felt like Damian Lillard sold the game short or any point like that. So it's like, really hope he does well, and hopefully something pans out where he gets a free agent or somebody goes and joins him and tries to get something done, because the culture that he's built there, the way that he's worked on his game, you can do nothing but respect that. Absolutely nothing but respect that.